So my name is Morgan Stradling. I am a senior product manager here at GoDaddy. Turn on my screen a little bit with that. All right, so I'm Morgan Stradling. I'm a senior product manager here at GoDaddy. I manage our SEO services product, which is a full service white glove product where we, GoDaddy, will do SEO for you. And so when the GoDaddy Canada team came to me and they said that they wanted somebody to talk and give a webinar on SEO, I was super excited because I eat and breathe SEO. So let's talk about what we're going to talk about, shall we? So the agenda for today, SEO is really important. You probably are hearing about it all the time for your business. So we are going to break this down in this beginner's guide to SEO course. We're going to talk about the why of SEO, why it's important, why you need it, why you need to be found on the first page of Google. We're going to talk about the bits and pieces of SEO and break down the definition of SEO and what are the smaller components of it. And then finally, we're going to put those pieces together to explain how SEO works. And then right before we leave, we're going to talk about 3 actionable things that you guys can do right now to get started doing SEO for your website and for your business. So first, the why of SEO. I'm going to start with a story. So we've seen this lots and lots of times before. This is good old Mr. Billboard. And if you live in a metropolitan area or you're in a suburban area, you probably have a commute to work. You probably pass billboards multiple times per day, dozens, if not hundreds of billboards we see as we go to and from different places. And some of these billboards may have just been around forever. It's been the same advertiser for years and they've never changed. Or maybe certain billboards, they change all the time. And when we're driving down the road, it may just be a blip on our radar as we pass, and it's a split second that we see these. And this is advertisers and companies trying to get our attention so that way we can ultimately buy their products and services. So let's say you were driving to work one day, and you see an advertisement on a billboard just really quickly for a plumber, and it's called Mr. Mike's Plumbing. You think, okay, cool. You know, it has a picture of a guy, he's holding a wrench, he's fixing a leaky pipe. Very stereotypical, nothing special, but it catches your attention and off you go in traffic and you move on with your day. Then let's say a few days later, you're driving in your car, you're maybe not necessarily going to work, you're somewhere else, and you hear a radio ad for a plumbing company. And lo and behold, it's Mr. Mike's Plumbing. And you think, oh yeah, that's the guy who I saw the billboard the other day. Interesting. And you know, the radio ad comes and goes and off you go on your way. Let's fast forward about a month and it's been a really long day at work. You're exhausted. You go into your comfy bed and you just barely close your eyes so you can start getting to sleep, get some sleep, and you hear a bang in the other room. You jump out of bed, you run into the kitchen where the sound is, and you realize that you have sprung a leak. The kitchen faucet, it is exploded everywhere. There is water on the ceiling, there's water on the walls, there's water on the floor. It's going on your brand new hardwood floor that you just got last week. It's totally destroying it because there is water everywhere. It's a flood. So what are you going to do in this moment? Are you going to sit and think, hold on 1 second. What was that billboard? I need a plumber. I remember there was a plumber billboard. What was the name of that company from that billboard I saw a while ago? Are you going to sit there and think about it? And okay, hold on. Was it Bob's Plumbing? Was it Frank's Plumbing? Okay, can't remember the billboard. Fine. But I know he had a radio ad. What was the jingle? Okay, let me think if I can sing it. If you've sprung a leak, what you going to do? Call. Okay, can't remember the number, so that's not helpful, right? So in reality, what are you going to do in this moment? You are going to pull out your phone and you're going to start searching. You're going to go on Google and type plumber Calgary, right? Let's say I live in Calgary. But even then, maybe plumber Calgary might not give you the answer that you're looking for. You don't need someone to come 6 hours from now. It's 2 a.m. You need someone to come quite literally right now. So you might change your search and do emergency plumbing Calgary or 24/7 emergency plumbing Calgary, right? You're going to modify your search term because you need an answer right now. And lo and behold, as you are searching and scrolling through the different list of companies that come up on this search page, you see a few that you don't recognize, but you do see one that you recognize, and that's Mr. Mike's Plumbing. You remember him from the advertisements and from the radio ad that he had done, and you already have that established rapport with him. And so you're probably going to click on his ad and then call his number, and he's going to come minutes later and save the day for you. So this story goes to show just the different types of advertising that we see in the world and how it plays with search engines and having your business found on search engines. So it does not discredit traditional advertising like billboards, radio ad, mail, direct mailers. Those are all very, very important. But the fact of the matter is that people are online, and that is where we go. We don't go to the phone book anymore. We pull out our phone or we go on our computer and we start searching. 88% of purchases begin online. People start researching online first. And you don't necessarily have to end with the purchase online. In this case, I called him, he came over and he fixed, and then I paid him, right? But I will research starting online first. And I actually gave a presentation like this a few years ago in 2014, and this number was 81%. So every single year, more and more people are getting online and they're starting to research. And there's a variety of things that people do in this research process when they go out online. Maybe they're comparing different products, maybe they're looking for who has the best price, or you might be going to reviews. With Mr. Mike's Plumbing, I just needed someone right then and there. I didn't really have time to price shop and look at reviews. I just found someone who could solve my need in that moment, and that was him. And then it was reinforced with those other forms of advertising that he had done. So just to set the stage, there are 167 billion searches on Google every single month. That's 63,000 searches a second. If your business is not on Google or being found for those search terms, you are missing out on an incredibly captive audience, because that's where people are going. And if you're not there, you're not being found, and you're missing out on lots of business that you could potentially be getting. Now, on relating to that, and we're going to talk about the different pieces of SEO and a search page, but 84% of the clicks are organic. So normally when you search something, so if I typed in emergency plumbing Calgary, there's going to be a bunch of ads that come up at the beginning. That's how Google makes money. So they're going to show me those first. But as consumers, we have very, very strong ad radar, and we know how to just filter out ads and skip to the part that we know. And so even though people are clicking ads and those are the first thing you see, 84% of the clicks are going to come from those organic search results below the ads. And the great thing about being organically showing up in Google is that you don't have to pay for it. And so that's what SEO does, and that's what we're here to do for you. So with SEO, I mean, I've been saying SEO, SEO, SEO in this entire presentation so far, and I haven't really talked about what it is. So we're going to dive into the definition of SEO, because this will lay the groundwork for everything else that we talked about. So SEO stands for search engine optimization, basically optimizing your website so that it shows up in search result page. And when I mention Google or search engines, I'm going to say Google, and I mean all search engines. But Google, 80% of search traffic comes through Google, so it's the 800-pound gorilla in the room. So I'm just going to say Google and know that I mean all search engines, Bing and whatnot. So breaking down the definition of SEO even more. SEO is the work that goes into showing the search engines that you are the most relevant and the most trusted source for queries relating to your product or service. So I'm going to repeat that again. SEO is work. It doesn't, for the most part, happen organically. There's actual work that you need to do for your website to prove to Google or search engines that you are one of two things, or both of these: the most relevant answer to search terms and the most trusted source. And we're going to talk about what relevance and trust means relating to this and how to do that. So we're going to dive into the bits and pieces of SEO. First, we're going to start off with this. I'm sure we see it hundreds of times a day. I mean, hopefully not hundreds of times a day, but we always have our phones. And why do we go to Google? We go to Google because Google has proven time and time again that it is the best answer, that it provides us the best answer for what we are looking for. They're just the best, right? I could go to my friends and get answers. I could go, the old fashioned, I could go to the yellow pages, but Google, they have answers for everything. Whether it's a question of give me the spoilers to Avengers Endgame or roofing Calgary, they provide the answers for that. And Google, the way that it stays in business is by continually modifying its algorithm to provide its end users, which are people like you and me, the best answers to those questions. If we typed roofing Calgary and it started giving us dog groomer results, over time we would lose confidence in Google and we would stop using it. So Google is very much invested to always providing the absolute best answer. So for example, this is a search engine results page. In the industry, it's known as a SERP. And this is where you go and you find the answers and the results are displayed. We're going to break down the bits and pieces of the SERP right here. So I've been mentioning paid ads. Paid ads are clickable advertisements that appear within the search results. Typically, they appear at the very top of the page and also at the bottom. But depending on how competitive that keyword is, there may be a lot of ads that show up because everyone's fighting for attention and really want you to click and purchase, or there might just be a few because it's not that competitive of a space. So for Roofing Calgary, I took a screenshot of this, and there are 4 different ads that appear at the very, very top of the page. And Google changes the way that they display ads all the time. A few years ago, the ads used to be on the sidebar, so it was very clear that, hey, anything on the side, this is an ad, and then anything on the left side is organics or an organic result. It's not like that anymore. Obviously, Google gets the way they make money is through ad revenue. And so they want to make this appear as natural of a result as possible. So you can see right here, there's just a little tiny square that says ad, and it's in green. And if we were to go down to the rest of the search results, other than that, that little ad banner is really the only thing that will differentiate it. Back in the day, the ad flag used to be yellow. But again, Google makes money by us clicking these ads. So they just want to make it appear like nothing's different here. It's just an ad. You can click it. There's no big deal, right? So these are known as pay-per-click or PPC. And if you are deciding to purchase ads so you can appear at the top of Google, let's say I have a budget of $1,000. Okay, the way Google charges you is depending on the competitiveness of that keyword. In this case, Roofing Calgary. There's a different price. So probably Lawyer Calgary is a more expensive click than dog grooming Calgary or even roofing Calgary. I think roofing would probably be in the middle of those, right? So if I have $1,000 budget and let's say roofing Calgary, anytime someone clicks on that ad, Google charges me $1. So now let's say a person clicked, I now have $999 left in my ad budget. Once 1,000 people click, my ad budget is gone. Unless I refill that ad budget and say, hey, Google, I'm going to pay you more, keep me up at the top. Once it's gone, your ad completely disappears and you no longer appear there. So it's really a pay to play with ads. These are also known as Google Ads or Google AdWords. Very, very effective. But again, you always have to be paying to appear. So the next part of the search engine results page is the local map listings. And these are specific to local businesses only. So if you're doing a search term that is local in nature, such as roofing Calgary, then local businesses will show up. And this is prime real estate because it's the most visual part of this page. It stands out. You can see this box where it has the map, and then it has the listings below. So important things to note about the local map listings page is this is known as the Google Local 3-pack. Now you'll notice there's 4 here. That's because occasionally there can be ads in this as well, but for the most part, there will be a max of 3 listings for these companies. There used to be 7, which was great because it was so much easier to get listed in here, but Google decided that the optimal amount that you can have here is 3. You can click on the bottom below that says more places and it will expand out the search and you will be able to see more. But again, the more clicks that a customer is having to do, the less likely they're going to convert. So being here right away is really, really crucial. And also just to point out, so these 3 companies that are showing up, they will show up as flags on that map with their name specifically. And the other businesses that will appear in the more places, if you were to expand it out, you can see their little dots, but you would have to click to be able to see, okay, I want someone near Brentwood and Varsity, and you'd have to click and dive more into that. Now, the way that you appear in this is you have to not only have a fully optimized Google My Business profile, which we'll talk about that in a second, but your website itself has to have great SEO. So it's 2-part. I mean, again, this is the prime real estate for a local business on a search engine results page. Google, and the only 3 you're getting shown, you really, really have to be on your A game and prove to Google that through SEO that you are the best. So let's talk about the Google My Business profile page. So you can go to google.com/business, and this is where you go and you can claim your business. If you're a local business, this is an absolute must. You have to do it. And Google doesn't just want you to claim your business, they want you to fully optimize this. So this is really important that if you have a business name, it's included there. It's spelt properly. If you have a phone number, make sure it's the right phone number for customers to call. If you have hours of operation, put them there. If you have a website, put that there. Make sure to categorize your business appropriately. If you're, again, if you're a roofing company, probably shouldn't categorize your business as a dog groomer, right? Because again, that's a flag to Google that, okay, something's off here. Maybe I'm not going to rank this business anymore. So it's very easy to do. You can just go, again, google.com/business and claim that page. You'll notice sometimes when you're searching, you can click on this and they will expand out the search results. Sometimes at the bottom it will say, is this your business? Claim this page. 50% of businesses, actually local businesses, have not claimed their Google My Business profile, which is just such a shame because if it's not claimed, it's not optimized. If it's not optimized, you're not appearing, right? There's lots of things that you can do once you click and open this up. As a customer, it's very informative. For this particular Calgary Elite Roofing, you can book appointments through their website. You have a phone number. And another great thing to do as part of optimizing your Google My Business page is having really high quality photos. You can see this example here. They have the very first photo that shows up, they have some text and some, someone on their marketing team put it together. It says, looking for a better roof, give us a call. So this stands out as a profile. And not only that, they have great reviews. One thing of also optimizing your profile is to go in and to respond to comments. I know I've been on businesses before and there's a bunch of really negative reviews and you kind of wonder, okay, was this just a customer who had a bad experience, had a bad day, or is this really how it is? And when the owner of the business doesn't come in and respond, it's kind of suspect. It's like, well, is it really this bad and they know it, so that's why they're not addressing it, or was this a one-off thing? Google likes to see that you're proactively responding to reviews and comments. I bought a bike. I bought my family beach cruisers over Christmas. I went to the web page and they all had, for the bike company, they all had glowing reviews, and then there was this one that just didn't make sense and was totally off. And the business owner did go in and say, hey, I don't even have you as a customer. Please contact me. Why are you leaving me this review? It seemed like it was someone just out of nowhere leaving a review. And by the customer, by the business owner going and kind of calling that out, me as a prospective customer, I was able to see, oh, okay, this is not the norm. This is a weird one-off case. So Google My Business profile, incredibly, incredibly important for local businesses. Now, the very last page, now this is really one of the main meat and potatoes of SEO, are these are the organic search results. So you'll have the ads that will show first, then you'll have, if you're a local business, the local business listings, and then all organic results after this. So these are pages of your website that show up when someone searches your search terms. So in this case, these 4 businesses are showing up when you type roofing Calgary. And they appear on the first page, which is the place to be. 93% of people do not click beyond the first page. 93% of all clicks are on those first page. So if you're not on the first page, you're really nowhere. And then going to the second page, 99.7% of all search terms happen within the first 2 pages. So again, if your business is not optimized through SEO to show up on I'm not even going to say the second page. The goal of SEO is to get you on the first page. Again, you're missing out on a huge opportunity. For our service, we do an initial audit of the customer's websites, and we show them where they're ranking on what page for the various keywords that we're going to search. And for our customers, if we stop checking to see where they are after page 10, because that's just a graveyard. I mean, if 99.7% of people are only on the first 2 pages, literally no one is on page 10 plus. And so for our customers, I mean, that's just, okay, here's your baseline. You're in basically nowhere, but we're going to help you get there. And that's what SEO does. The better your SEO, the higher you're going to rank, and the higher you're going to rank, the closer you are to page 1. As soon as you're on page 1, that is where 93% of all the clicks are coming for those search terms, which ultimately at the end of the day, it's not just about, oh, great, I'm on the first page of Google. The purpose of being on the first page of Google, again, is to drive clicks to your website to convert them to become a paying customer. So bringing it all together, here is a very small but expanded out search result page. And again, top that's showing up, these 3 examples, those are paid ads. You could barely see the little ad flag right there, but that's what they are. Next is the local map listings. Again, there's another ad right there that is appearing within that listing, and then the local 3-pack of the 3. Those are, in Google's eyes, the best of local businesses for this. And then lastly, the organic results. Now you will notice that there can be overlap in appearing in the local listings and appearing in the organic results. So Hubbard Roofing, they are showing up twice, while Meerkat Roofing is not showing up in the local map listings, they're just showing in the organic results. So again, if you're a local business, getting that Google My Business profile and maximizing your SEO is huge, because now this is 2 chances for Hubbard Roofing and Exteriors to capture business. Okay, so I've talked about the bits and pieces of SEO. Now we're going to talk about how it all works together. So for SEO, there really are 2 things, and this goes back to the definition of SEO that we were talking about. So for SEO, there are 2 things that Google looks at. Remember, it is looking to see if you're the most relevant answer and if you're the most trusted answer. So relevance is everything on your website. You control it because you get to ultimately say what you want about your website, about your business. Offsite, that is what everyone else is saying about you. So for example, if I'm a dog groomer and my website is just my business name, my phone number, and my address, and then a picture of a dog, Google's going to look at that and they're not really going to have a great idea about what I do, right? I mean, maybe a human will be able to infer that, hey, this is a dog groomer in Toronto, but other than that, there's not too many indicators to Google that that's what I'm doing. And even on top of that, maybe what services that I specialize in, and why, of all things, should they point their customers to me. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about these keywords first. So I've been talking about keywords, and keywords ultimately are the search terms relating to your business, products, or services that that your customers are typing into search engines. So here are 2 examples: dog groomer Toronto and lawyer Toronto. It's important to note that there are differences in keywords. Some keywords the competitiveness of the keyword is based on 2 things: your location and your industry. So for example, my mom, she's from McGrath, Alberta. That's a very, very small farming town. If I'm a dog groomer in McGrath, there's probably not that much competition for that location, right? It's such a small town, there's maybe 1 groomer, maybe 2. But if I'm in a larger location such as Toronto, there's probably hundreds of dog groomers. And so the level of competition for that search term is drastically different. Now, the other thing that we were talking about, the competitiveness, is also based on industry. So let's use the dog groomer example again and compare it to lawyers. Now you can see on this example right here, if you look underneath where it says about 800,000 search results for dog groomer Toronto, that's a lot of search results. Again, only 93% of those people are going to be going past the first page, but there's a decent amount. Now compare that to lawyer Toronto, where there are 221 million search results. Lawyers are significantly more competitive business. There's more of them. And so the search results show that. So this is just important to note, because when you're trying to target certain keywords, again, the big broad ones like lawyer Toronto are going to be much more competitive and harder to rank for than some of these more specific or niche keywords. So 50% of searches actually have 4 words or longer, and these are known as long tail keywords. So a strategy for your business is, okay, I'm a brand new lawyer in Toronto, and I just got out of law school and I'm ready to go. I'm starting my own practice. Most likely when you search lawyer Toronto, it's already dominated by the big players in the space. Google has already indicated that, hey, these guys or girls are great, and I'm going to put their business up there for that reason. So it might be very difficult for me as a new lawyer to rank for such a competitive keyword. Not only is lawyer competitive, but Toronto in itself is very competitive. If I was a lawyer in McGrath, might be an easier SEO play, but in this case, not so much. I'm in one of the biggest markets in Canada, and the competitiveness is going to show on both of those fronts. So for keywords, as you're looking, and we're going to talk about keywords because keywords relate to every single other aspect of SEO as part of SEO strategy, as part of the stuff that you're putting on your website and on other websites. So if I am a lawyer in Toronto, definitely my website should include that. But maybe if I have other services that are a bit more long tail, if you look at estate planning lawyer Toronto, notice that there's only 8 million results compared. I mean, it's much less competitive. So from an SEO perspective, and when they're looking at us, we should try perhaps to focus on the longer tail keyword initially, build authority and credibility in Google's eyes for that. And then once we show Google, hey, we're the best answer for estate planning lawyer Toronto, then Google might look at us again when we say, hey, we also want to rank for lawyer Toronto. Now, it's not as cut and dry as this. I'm not saying to Google, hey, I'm ready to rank for lawyer Toronto, but this organically happens. So for our clients, we'll do keyword research. We will look at the keywords. We will analyze what's the competition, which ones are we most able to rank for within our time period, and we'll present those to the customers. And sometimes the clients are saying, well, that's great, but I really want lawyer Toronto. And we have to educate that, hey, we have to do the small building blocks first before we get to the big ones. The big ones are possible, but again, Google likes to see build credibility in a small space before you can prove that you're in the big space. So relating to relevance, remember, so I was saying if I'm a dog groomer and my website has nothing that talks about dog grooming other than my name and phone number, address, Google's not going to really look at me and say, okay, this is definitely the best answer for dog grooming. So to prove that you're the most relevant answer, you really have to build out your website. You have to thread those keywords in your content and in your source code. So when you or a user looks at your website, they see the pretty stuff. They see how beautiful it is. It's very easy and navigable. But the way that Google sees your website is totally different. They just look at the source code, and that is simply it. I have seen a lot of websites that are really not that fancy or pretty looking that are ranking #1 simply because the content on the website and in the source code is fantastic and better than all the competition. So source code, this is the back end code that search engines see. This is the most important piece for them. Again, only because your users aren't looking at the source code. This is just what Google sees. So I'm going to break down the different pieces of source code, but it's really important to, again, we're playing in Google's sandbox. And Google says, hey, there are certain things that I want to see on a website for every single, so I know how to categorize you. These are title tags, H1 tags, meta descriptions, image and alt tags. These are the back-end stuff that Google says, hey, if you want to rank, I need these. So again, we're playing in Google sandbox. We need to add those to our website. So here's an example of, I did dog teeth cleaning, Toronto. My website, I established that the title tag, this isn't my website, this is actually a GoDaddy customer that I found for this search term called dogfatherandco.com. And you can see the title tag that this person put was all natural teeth cleaning, Dogfather and Co, and then there's a little bit more. And then the meta description, can be anywhere from 50 to 160 characters. And this is your opportunity to tell users what your website is about. So Dogfather & Co. is excited to be offering sedation-free teeth cleaning for dogs and cats. Cool. I mean, just doesn't say, hey, I offer teeth cleaning for dogs. It's very descriptive. It's sedation-free. If that's important to me as someone who's looking for this service, it's important to call that out. This is non-invasive, safe teeth cleaning service. Right? So it just provides a little bit more information about that. You'll notice sometimes that bigger websites with very high authority like Yelp are appearing in the search terms, and that's because Yelp is very credible, so they will show up as well. The one that appears above this, it's pretty simple. It just says pet dentist in Etobicoke, best dog dentist for cleaning for your pet's teeth. Okay, everyone can say that they're the best, right? So we're going to go into how to show Google that, yes, we actually are the best. But so this is what shows, but this is how you put it on your website. So the title tag is literally this purple thing that says title. It says all natural teeth cleaning, and then you can expand it out a little more. The H1 tag, I'll show you what this looks like on the front end as what a user would see, but just so you can see, here's what it looks like to Google. And if you don't have these, it will show as blank. Or just not show it all. And Google will look at that and say, they don't even have a title tag. They don't have an H1 tag. There's no meta tag. This isn't helpful to me. I'm going to look for somebody else to rank for this. So title tag, this appears in the top of your browser. It's in the top of the tab. And you'll notice that this person put all all natural teeth cleaning, and you really can't see the rest of it, and that's okay. The user doesn't see it per se if it's too long, but Google will see it when they crawl the website and looking at the source code. Now, this is the specific page this customer has for all natural teeth cleaning. So the H1 tag, it's kind of like a title tag, but it's more of a category tag for the page, just to high level, let Google know that title tag is what this page is about, but you can have multiple, I mean, the H1 is more of just very specific what this page is about. And then the meta description, again, you get to control that, and these are ultimately what is pulled for the search results. So it's not just, hey, well, Google's gonna pull it onto the first page and I don't get to control that. You do. You decide what your title and meta descriptions are gonna be, so that way you can entice those customers to click on your website and then visit your page. And then this cut off because this was a longer page, but this is a great page because it explains even more about what this service is. It's non-invasive, it's anesthetic free, how does it work? And if you go down, there's even more information about how to book, what's the price. Me not necessarily needing this service, but I was reading this and thought, wow, this is a great page. No wonder they're ranking on the first page, because they're providing a lot of great information for Google's end users. Okay, so we talked about keywords. We need to put those in our source code, and we also need to put those in our content. Content isn't necessarily the back-end stuff, but it was like I was saying with this example, it's what your customers will be seeing, right? So on your website, on your website, for example, dog grooming services, we need to really build out and provide information for the customer. So this is what the people see, right? We're not going into the source code and looking, that's very confusing and not descriptive. So having a great website that looks nice and has lots of information that's very, very helpful to your end user is what we're going for here. And just to note this little flag at the top, quality over quantity. There should be no reason that you just say, okay, well, I know Google's looking for all sorts of things. Let's just data dump so much information into this page so Google will rank us for everything. Google likes your content to be very natural and authentic. So if you're trying to stuff keywords like, in one sentence, we are the best dog groomer and cat groomer and dog teeth cleaner, and you're just like going nonstop with all of these different keywords, that's not going to be helpful, and that doesn't look organic. People don't like to read that, and Google doesn't like to read that. So as you're coming up with content, just know that quality over quantity. It's important to have your keywords throughout. For example, if this is a dog groomer in Toronto, maybe on your page somewhere it should mention specifically that, hey, we do this in Toronto, and that's another flag or indicator to Google that, okay, this is specifically the service for Toronto. But again, just make it natural, make it really high quality, make it something that you would want to read if you were looking for this service for yourself. Can be there, and there's no set rule on how long this should be, but obviously having more information is better, but not too overwhelming. Okay, so that is relevance. Again, so if we're that dog groomer website, let's say I just started Morgan's Dog House, and my website before was just my name, phone number, email address. I'm not showing Google that I'm the most relevant answer, right? So I went in, I updated my source code, my meta tags, my title tags, I did all of that. And then I also created really, really great content on the website about all of my services and who I am, about us, meet the team, my locations. I've done all that. Now Google looks at that and says, wow, this is a great website, very relevant to these search terms, I like it. Well, that's great, but we can toot our own horn every single day saying I'm the best. You'll notice on that search result earlier, they said, we're the best dog dentist in Toronto. It's like, doesn't everyone think they're the best? So Google, when they're looking for determining, okay, there's 20 pages that are totally relevant to this content, how do I rank them? They need to look to other people, and that's trust. So here's an example to kind of tell this story. This is our CEO, Scott Wagner, and he's a great guy. I love Scott. And what if a fifth grader called you up on the phone today and said, hey, you know the CEO of GoDaddy, Scott Wagner? Scott Wagner is the best basketball player in the world. What would you do when you heard that? You'd be like, okay, random fifth grader, great, hang up. Okay, yeah, not very credible source, right? Now, what if 50 fifth graders all of a sudden called you back to back and were saying, hey, Scott Wagner, he's the new guy up and coming in the NBA. You might go, okay, I mean, am I being pranked? What's this all about? Fifth graders don't have a lot of authority or credibility as far as it comes to being uh, a thought leader in basketball. Now, what if it's 100 or even 1,000? You might start paying attention as you start getting more and more of these sources confirming that bit of information. But what if LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, and the King, Michael Jordan, all called you and said, hey, I have to tell you about this guy, Scott Wagner. He's the best basketball player in the world. Suddenly, you might actually start to pay attention to that and think, wow, this Scott Wagner guy actually is the best basketball player in the world. And that is exactly how Google works. We have to show Google that, we're not only the best, but other people think we are the best. And the way they do that, the way they kind of track that, they need, indicators from other websites. And those are simply links called backlinks that point back to your website. So using the basketball example, if we're going to say this is the best basketball player in the world, we need links on other websites that point back to Scott's basketball website to show that, or even better, like the dog groomer. If I have my dog grooming website in Toronto and no one is talking about me, Google's going to say, they must be new or not that great. But if other dog websites or even in the pet industry, related content now are writing blogs about me, or even just have links that are pointing back to my website, again, that's an indicator. So this is another thing for quality over quantity. You can't just go and spam the world with links, go to every comment section in the world and just spam your website hoping that'll, Google will look at that and that doesn't look organic and that doesn't look natural, and you'll actually be penalized. This is hard to do, but again, it's really important because that's the only other factor Google can use to determine whether this is a good website or not, and a good answer for these search terms. So again, relevance and trust, those are the two pieces. Those are the on-site work. You own that 100%. That is all on you. Off-site, there are still things you can do to get your links on other websites, but depends on the other websites as well. So to paint this all together and kind of tell the story, there's Google. Google's amazing. Google has, again, 167 billion search results or searches every month. People love Google, and there's all these businesses and websites that are trying to prove to Google that, hey, I'm the best, I'm the best. And I kind of use the analogy of it's like dating Google. The purpose of dating Google is you want to date Google and say, hey, I'm the best answer for these search terms, put me on the first page. But unfortunately, Google does not like proposals on the first date, right? So you can't be a new website on the scene, go and write all of this content, go put these links everywhere and say, okay, Google, will you marry me? Let's do the thing. Google will say, heck no, and run for the hills, right? Google, like I said, has tons of suitors that are constantly coming and saying, hey, I'm the best, I'm the best, I'm the best. And so Google has all the time in the world to really vet out all these websites to determine what are the best. So with Google, it does take time. Google likes you to take it out on dates. It likes to see constant updated content. So if you have a blog, maybe do a blog post. Again, I love the dog groomer example because I have a dog, but 5 things to look for in a dog groomer. That would be, great content that not only be helpful to Google's users, but it helps to show Google, hey, I'm putting out fresh content. Again, you need to be consistent in the SEO work. Remember, we talked about at the beginning, SEO is work. You have to be very consistent in the work that you're doing. So that way, over time, Google will start seeing those flags and, those positive flags say, yeah, this is the best answer. So this is the timeline that we give our clients when we're doing SEO campaigns for them. Again, it's a marathon, not a race. And that is really disappointing because people really want results now. And it's just like when I go to the gym and I really want a 6-pack, I can't expect to have it after one really hard day of working out. That's just simply not how it works. It does take time. So here's the timeline of once you start doing this SEO work, what to expect if you're consistent with it and have the right strategy. You're going to do those on-site optimizations first thing. That's the first thing everyone should be doing, is getting your website in tip-top shape. So those usually take about 30 to 45 days to start showing relevance and building trust. Sometimes we see clients where we will do the on-site and immediately they will go from page 10 plus to page 2. Sometimes that's all it takes for Google to say, hey, wow, you actually followed my rules. You updated the different tags and source code. I like that. Now I can actually read your website. Again, Google's just a robot, is a computer. So if you actually put it in a format that Google can read, suddenly you'll be surprised if you start jumping. May not get to the first page yet, pretty rare, but could happen. 2 to 4 months is typically when we start seeing that movement. So if you were on page 10 plus, by months 2 and 4, you'll start slowly seeing that growth. Like now you're on page 6, now you're on page 5, now you're on page 4. Awesome. That's a great indicator that Google's likes what it's seeing about your website. Typically around month 6, that's when 80% of our clients start seeing page 1 results. And with us, the goal of SEO, the SEO work that we're doing, is to get you on the first page. Maybe the first spot is a later goal for us, but it's really the first page because, again, 93% of the clicks come from that first page. If you're on that first page, you're golden because your competitive set and that customers are looking for, you are within that small set of websites. So around 6 months. So cool, great. Now going back to the analogy of working out, let's say I worked really hard. I was eating clean for 6 months. I was working out every day. I finally got my 6-pack at month 6. And then I just stop. I say, okay, hit my goal. I'm great. I mean, am I going to keep that 6-pack forever? I might, maybe for a few weeks. I might maintain it, but very slowly it's going to go away, and it's kind of going to go back to where it was, which is a very non-6-pack set of abs right now. So with working out, obviously you need to continue to work out. Maybe I don't have to do the same level of strenuous exercise that I did before, but I do need to do enough to maintain. And it's the same thing with SEO. So once you hit that first page results, you still need to, show Google, hey, I'm still relevant, I'm updating my content, people are still talking about me. They like to see that. And with our clients, once you're hitting that first page result, we then start focusing other keywords. So remember that example of the lawyer in Toronto, estate planning lawyer Toronto. If, let's say, after 6 months, we finally hit that first page, we're seeing great results. Now we might be able to start moving into a different related keyword, maybe a different service that I offer. Maybe it's like will planning or divorce attorney, or maybe we're ready at that point in time to then start going for the bigger overarching keyword, which is lawyer Toronto. So that's the timeline to expect for SEO. Okay, so I've talked about why SEO is important. I think we all know you have to be there. That's where the people are. That's where all the searches are. People literally right now, as we're talking, are searching your product or business on Google. And if you're not showing up, it's a huge missed opportunity for your business. So it's really important to do SEO so we get there now. So I'm going to talk about 3 easy things that you can do today to start your SEO. And again, there's lots that you can be doing, but this is just the start. And Google likes to see, like I said with those examples, sometimes people just update their source code and suddenly they see a movement. Like Google likes, they're not penalizing you because you haven't done it in the past. They like that you're starting now and you're going to continue to do it. Because again, they're always searching for the best answer. There's new companies coming up all the time for new products and services, and Google wants to make sure that it stays on top of that and always provides the best answer. So very first thing that you can do is add relevant content and keywords to your website. So we talked about keywords. I mean, it could be a whole other webinar talking about keyword research, but you more or less know kind of what your business is about, where you're located, target audience, maybe certain products that you have. So if you don't, go in and just really build out your website. Make sure that your source code is up to snuff. There's a variety of ways to do this. There's if you're using WordPress, you can go on there's different plugins that you can use, or some website builders already have this built in. It just depends on your website and how it's structured. Just go in, update that source code, make sure it's very clear, and then just add content with those keywords threaded and sprinkled throughout. Don't go crazy with the keywords. Just make it natural for someone reading and interested in that product or service. The next thing that you can do is create individual product, service, or location pages. This is really important because I'm a dog groomer and I have a variety of different services that I offer, and I just stuff it into one main page, like maybe my home page. Like I worked on my home page and I added all this information. That's great, but Google's still maybe a little confused about what I do. If someone's searching poodle grooming Toronto, like that's very, very specific. Someone has a poodle, maybe it's toy poodle grooming. They're looking for someone who really owns this. And if that's my specialty, I should have a specific page just talking about my toy poodle grooming service. right? And why we're the best and what we do. And because there are people, it may not be as many, the people who are searching lawyer Toronto, there's probably not 221 million search results for that. But the thing is, even for these smaller niche keywords, there are people who are looking for that and they want to buy. Even if it's 100 and you're able to convert 50 of those, that's better than not having it at all. So do that for your products or services and your specialties, things that make you stand out, make you different. And then also do this with your location pages. This is really helpful, especially if you're a local business and if you have multiple locations. Yes, you can have a page that has all of your locations, but it's a step further to have one specifically for your Toronto location, one for your Calgary location. Because again, Google will see that, wow, they have a specific page for this city. Great. And then the last thing that you can do, this is for local businesses only, but claim your Google My Business profile and optimize it. You own that. Google has given you the tools how to do it. It's very easy. Google.com/business. Go and start filling that out, adding photos, adding your descriptions about your business, hours of operation. Start responding to comments. These are things that Google likes to see, and it's totally in your court, something you could do today. There is one thing for Google My Business. If you have not claimed your profile, Google likes to verify that the person claiming the business actually owns the business, prevent competitors from stealing profiles for other people or just random people doing that. So occasionally you will have to, Google will send you a postcard to your business address, and then it will have a code on it, and then you need to go and put that code into the Google My Business profile to verify. So that is a step that may take a while, but you can go in today and start doing that. So we've talked a lot today about SEO and the bits and pieces of this giant SEO puzzle. And I want you to know that SEO, there's a lot to do. But again, there are so many pieces that you can start doing now. And Google likes to just see that you are starting bit by bit. You don't necessarily have to have let's say if there's 100 pieces that Google's looking for in their algorithm, Google doesn't say, hey, you have to have all 100 of the pieces. They're just looking for the best answer that maybe has the majority or a good result of these. So if you're doing nothing for SEO today, that's okay. Just start doing one piece at a time. And like we said, it is going to take time to prove to Google that you are the best answer for this. And for your search terms. So, you can just lay piece by piece, and eventually you will get there. This is possible. And this is obviously why you came here today. So I'm really excited that everyone was able to join. And that's all I have. So thank you. If you have any questions, you can send them to canadaevents@godaddy.com. And we will send a recap with answering all the questions about SEO. And yeah. Thanks for joining.